if you're not signed up with the email feature, you can go to our website and access it at our website as well. And Gavin's going to tour the website with you today. So just to make sure that you know how to navigate the website. It's pretty simple, but sometimes it can get overwhelming with all the different features on the website. And we want to make sure that you guys feel comfortable doing that.
JJ, before we go any further, we're going to record this meeting and post it. So if you don't want your video, if you just want to turn off your video, it's up to your discretion.
Right. So go ahead and do that for me, Gavin. Thanks.
Yep.
All right, so the meeting is recording now, and so we can post this later. So if any of your people in the neighborhood say, hey, I didn't get to go to the meeting, what happened? You just tell them, go to the website. The meeting's posted. It's recorded. We can give you all the information there. So even though sometimes your phones may go off with texts and calls and emails, we want to make sure that we are still reaching those families who may not have all 3 connections with the school. So we're trying to send out mass communication to make sure they're staying informed. So we apologize if that's what's happening on Friday afternoons, if it's blowing up your phone or your email, but that's what we want to make sure that happens as well. We have a special guest today. So Dr. Zreich is here. He is the new superintendent for next year and beyond. He is going to go ahead and talk a little bit, and then he'll be able to answer he'll answer a couple of questions for you afterwards. Then after that, Gavin is going to take you through some of the website features. I may duck out and come back, but I'm going to try to be back by the end of the meeting, but if I'm not, you're in good hands with Gavin. And then obviously the rest of the team is here. Amanda's going to talk today about mental health a little bit. Karen can answer any questions. If you want end of the year office questions, you can answer those. Jen's going to talk about any special ed remote learning plan that we're doing. Marlene is obviously here to talk to you as well. And sorry for City Connects, anything that you need for your family at home that maybe we don't know about. You want to talk to her offline, she can answer some general questions, and then you can talk to her offline as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, and welcome Dr. Zreich.
And thank you, JJ. And it's amazing how many parents are here. Thank you for being here. And you're my first parent meeting in Salem. So I don't know if you're lucky or unlucky, but I'm thrilled to be coming to Salem. This is not how I would have expected this to happen. And I don't think anybody could have drawn this up after I accepted the offer in, I think it was February. So, but I feel privileged to be with all of you here tonight. And I want to congratulate JJ on his new opportunity and Gavin on his appointment as the new principal of the Bates School. I'll just share a little bit about myself. I'm going to try not to talk too much, but I would love also just to hear a little bit about what makes your school special. I'll probably ask it again once we can be in person, and then I would love to take any questions that you might have. So just to give you a little bit about myself, most important thing for me I'm a Cuban American. I grew up in a Cuban household, spent most of my life living in Massachusetts, grew up in Norfolk, stone's throw from Gillette Stadium. My parents still live there, but my mother's Cuban and our household was a Cuban household. And I grew up speaking Spanish. I have 2 children, which I think is relevant. My children are probably not that far in age for many of yours. I have a 1st grader and a 4th grader, a girl and a boy. I've been married for 50 and teaching in education. And we taught together for a few years before I moved to other opportunities. But my children go to school in the same school I taught, and my daughter does not believe that I ever was a 5th grade teacher at that school. And my wife still teaches at that school. And so we live in Andover, and this is where my wife grew up. So I didn't really have much say about where I could live. This is where we've lived for the last 5 years. A couple things just about myself so you understand, how I think about the work and how I think I approach this work. I would say, my mother instilled in me very early on that education is a game changer. And the most important investment that you could ever make was education. I carry my grandfather, my Cuban grandfather wrote this to his grandchildren in 1994. And this is sort of what my mother lived by is, if you're to overspend, do so in educating your children and grandchildren. This is money well spent. No one, not even Fidel Castro, can take away what you have learned. And this stays with me. It's at my desk. And it's something that, was part of my upbringing. Now, I don't believe that you should have to pay for quality public education, and my whole career has been in traditional public schools. I was not a product of public schools, but my career has been only in working in traditional schools, and my children will only go to traditional public schools because I believe in the power of public education. But I don't think families should have to pay a cent to receive a quality education. And when I think about quality education, for me, I think a lot about through the lens of what I want for my own children and what I would expect. And I'm a parent just like yourself, have the same expectations and hopes for my children as I look at the schools that I serve. The other thing I just say about myself is I try really hard to be a humble leader. It's not always easy, and unfortunately, sometimes leaders have bring egos to the work. But I think you have to check your ego at the door. This work is really hard, and I don't believe I should have all the answers. I think there's a lot of tremendous insight and input and feedback that can be garnered from teachers, parents, staff, community members, and I try really hard to listen and adjust based on the information I receive. Doesn't mean that we're always going to agree or my decisions are always going to be well received, but I really do believe that it's important for me to set up systems of not just one-way communication, but two-way communication, so that I can get input from folks who are on the ground, families, staff, our school leaders. So that's important. I believe humility is one of the most important qualities of a school leader. And when I think about hiring principals, or when I think about hiring central office staff, looking for people that are reflective and thoughtful practitioners, are something that I think is really important. The third thing I just say about the work is I don't believe change happens at the district office. I think positive change and transformation in schools happens with the school communities. I've never seen schools improve because the central office, was operating a school. I really believe it's the people that surround themselves the people that make up the community. When you get a critical mass of motivated people around the same goals, that's when real change happens. And I think real positive things can happen for children. And so that's teachers, it's parents, it's community members. And my experience as a principal, when my schools, I think, did some good work, it's when we mobilized teams of people around a few key priorities, not too many, and then the experience changed for kids. The fourth thing, I only have five points, but my fourth point as I think about the work is I think schools have to be joyful places and dynamic places of learning where students' passions and interests are ignited. I think we've taken the joy a lot out of education. I mean, some of that comes with MCAS assessments or high stakes assessments. I believe in assessments. I think you can get the results by creating a more dynamic environment for children. And, a lot of my thinking more recently is about how do we create pathways for kids that meet their individual needs and their interests. How do we get students engaged in wanting to go to school? And that's not just what happens in math class, but it's the arts, it's enrichment opportunities, it's drama. I told the story when I interviewed in Salem. My daughter, who's in fourth grade, she's a fine student. I wish she were a little better, but I wish her math were a little better. But she goes to school because they have a drama program. They have a drama program, and she couldn't wait. Unfortunately, the show got cut short because of the corona epidemic. But I see for her getting up in the morning and getting excited about school is about drama, and that can be something different for every child. We've got to create passion in all the children that we work with in our schools. And the final thing is, I think education is. I said this to the principals last week. I think we've got to be much more innovative in the field. I think we have to not be afraid to take risks. Obviously, not risks that negatively impact children, but we need to be more innovative about how we do the work. And you can see education. I'm not specifically Salem, but we've struggled to adapt to this online learning system, at home learning, because we're very traditional. And public education, not just in Massachusetts, around the country, we need to be much more innovative about the way we think about work and about school. And school doesn't look much different than when I was in school, or I'm sure many of you were in school. And so I want to make sure that we're, as a system, we're on the cutting edge of some of the most the most impactful work that can happen for young people, and not be afraid to be innovative. My plan is to be in Salem for a long time. This is my home area. I'm not looking to go anywhere. I hope to bring some stability to the system. That's my plan. Some of the things I'm thinking about right now is I'm thinking a lot about reentry to school. I'm actually thinking about that for 2 districts: the district I'm in now in Holyoke and Salem. And I'm fortunate to be able to be part of those conversations in Salem that are really beginning in earnest this week. But that's on my mind, and I'm sure it's all on your minds about what reopening school looks like. So that's something we have to, will be a major priority for me as I start officially on July 1st. I think the second thing that's on my mind is how to establish an entry process where people know what I'm doing, where I'm going to be come July 1st, and how families can engage with me, staff can engage with me. It's going to be a little different, I think, than what I had anticipated, because I was hoping to have as many face-to-face conversations. I didn't expect to be doing. I don't know that I knew what Zoom was, in fact. But I'm really. I'll make public what my plan is in terms of my entry into Salem, beginning on July 1st officially. And the third thing that's on my mind a lot is, I want to think about how we, I've already heard a lot about how do we attract families to want to come to the Salem Public Schools and stay in the Salem Public Schools. It's pretty startling how many people choose to go elsewhere. And I know whether it's perception or reality, that's something we need to improve on as a school system, because I think there's a lot of great things happening, and we might not be telling the right stories about the successes in the Salem public schools. So I'm thinking a lot about those 3 things as I come in. I'm going to stop there. That's just a little bit about who I am and what I'm thinking. I plan to interact a great deal with families, and I just want to shout you all out for what I know is really challenging with your children at home, and the work that you've been doing to support your children. I see it up front. I can't say that I'm doing my share. I think my wife is doing most of the work at home. And I applaud you for how quickly you've had to adapt, just like our educators have had to adapt to remote learning. So I'll stop there. My question is, I'd love to know a little bit about what makes your school special and unique. I admittedly don't know a great deal about the schools yet. And then I'd be open to taking any questions that people have and let you get on with your meeting.
So would anyone like to share what makes their school unique? Wendy, I'm going to unmute you.
Hi, I'm Wendy Rivers. I have a son. He's in 4th grade in Miss Larrabee's class. I can tell you, hands down, if you need help with your math for your daughter, Mr. D is top notch. So send them our way. I truly believe what makes Bates special is it's a smaller school in the city of Salem. I'm not even sure it's not the smallest elementary school. The teachers and staff are collaborative, and they embrace our students, and there's joy in our school, and it's palpable. I walk the halls picking my son up after school hours, and 9 times out of 10 I'll either see Mrs. Reardon in the office doing work still. I'll see teachers still in their classrooms working at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. There's never a time that they don't make themselves accessible. So there's just that spirit of collaboration between the teachers and the parents that I truly feel it just pours through the school. And my son, when he found out he wasn't going back to school, he was inconsolable for days. And for a 10-year-old to not want to just cry because he couldn't go back to school says so much about the school that he attends. So I think it's a lot of teacher and staff collaboration and parents' involvement our parents are some of the best in the city of Salem. So can't say enough good things about Bates.
Anybody else like to share? Oh, I just unmuted everybody, so you can speak out. All right, does anybody?
Oh, I can say so. I can
Yeah.
quickly say something. I don't have my video on because we were in the middle of dinner, but I will say the one thing, the one thing about Bates is we have a lot of fun. I'm on the PTO and we do a lot of like family engagement and even the school too. With their literacy night, there's just so many great things that happen at Bates and so many opportunities for families to get involved. It almost seems like there's something every single month that families and teachers and everyone's just invested in our kids, and it's really a great place to be.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Drake? So you can just unmute yourself and then you can talk right out.
I don't have any questions, but I do want to say welcome, Salem, Stephen. Appreciate you sharing, appreciate your heart and your desire, and all of, everything that you said about your thoughts. You've come to an amazing city, you really have. I'm a single mom, was a single mom for a long time. We're now a blended family of 5 boys. My 4-year-old was going to the YMCA program. I have a child, Jeremiah Faulkner, who's in the 3rd in Miss Croneau's class. And then I also have a 7-year-old that goes out of district to the Manville School in Roxbury. This has definitely been a very challenging time, to say the least, but this community really stepped up. The staff, the administrators, the mayor, just everybody has really just, in my opinion, stepped up, embraced the change. Yes, it's been challenging. Yes, it is difficult at times, but I'm very grateful. My memories of Bates School is parents coming together, teachers coming together, staff coming together, always being there to collaborate, to connect, for support, and I miss that. I miss that greatly. I can't wait to get back to it, to be honest with you. For the time being, I look forward to these meetings and engaging with everybody. And, Jeremiah has been really enjoying the online work, the Zoom meetings. I've been seeing him develop into quite the young man, learning how to navigate things that took me a long time personally. Stephen, I had no idea really how to Zoom either. I am running a business from home. It's a little challenging. I'm a life insurance agent, so it's been challenging in a lot of different areas. But anyways, I just wanted to say thank you. Also, Gavin, congratulations. Can't wait to see you at the school when we resume. And thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Does anybody else have any questions for Dr. Drake before we have to get going? I mean, are you trying to? All right. I don't see anything. All right. So with that, I really appreciate Dr. Drake coming on. What I really enjoyed about him so far is he's very transparent. He's very personable. And he, I asked him if he'd like to join us tonight, and he was there in a second. He's going to do the same thing with our staff next week. And I can't tell you how much that means to, our community, the Bates community, that you're there, that quickly for us, especially in this time of need. I think there's a lot of unknown. So having your presence here is, I think great for our community, and obviously the Bates community as well. So thank you so much for joining us.
Can I just say one last thing?
Sure.
First of all, I want to be invited to these fun parties I just learned about the Bates School has. So please sign me up for that. I really plan to be visible, and if you guys are offering fun family activities, I'd love to bring my family. So first thing I'll say, Secondly, I do have a Salem email address now. I believe it's sreich. Feel free to reach out with any ideas, thoughts. I know that there's a lot of anxiety for families about reopening school. I agree with the comment about how much your district or the district has stepped up and educators have stepped up. And I've been watching from afar on social media, and you all should be really proud of how people have stepped up. But I also know there's a lot of anxiety for families as we think about what reopening is going to be. If you wake up in the middle of the night and have ideas, feel free to send them to me. I really, I hope to be collaborative and communicate back and forth with the community. It's part of my responsibility as school leader. And I look forward to the work ahead, and be well. And I look forward to actually seeing you in person. This is not the way I would want to be introduced to all of you. So thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to give a quick update on our AP search. So like I talked about a couple of weeks ago, we had actually ended up being over 25 candidates apply, which is a great pool, big number of pool. We interviewed 8 highly qualified candidates, and today we met with our 3 finalists. So we're really hoping to check references this week and name someone by the end of the week or on Monday of next week. So, we're really far along in that process, and we feel really good about the 3 candidates moving forward. The next, I'd like to introduce Jen Doucette-Lee, Special Education Team Chair, and she's going to talk a little bit about our remote learning plans for special education.
Hi everyone, I'm the special ed team chair here at Bates, and I just want to recognize that this is a really unprecedented time and really not ideal for most of our special learners. You should be receiving a remote learning plan from your child's liaison, and this will list what services are being offered during this time. It doesn't mean that it's the only thing that's being offered for services. It's just a list of Zoom meetings, places that they can go access information. And there's also a way to contact everybody on their team. If the Zoom meetings are not accessible for your family, or they're just not happening at a time that you guys can do, there's a lot of other options. So always reach out to your liaison or reach out to myself. We do have a lot of online resources that they can use, and a lot of stuff that they can do, like traditional paper and pencil, and some traditional activities as well. Do not hesitate to contact me. I know this is really difficult. My own child slept through his science class today, and didn't even think twice about it until after the fact. So, we all recognize that this is difficult. And we don't want to throw you guys over the edge with too many Zoom meetings. So do as much as you can and what works for your family. But if you do have any questions, you can always email me, you can always call me. I'm always very responsive, and we'll get back to you right away.
Thanks, Jen. So right now I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to introduce our new digital learning website. So I'm going to walk you through that. So I'm going to share my screen now. All right, and to access this, if you go to the Salem Public School website and you select a school, you're going to go to the Bates webpage. I'm sure most of you know how to get there already. And then when you scroll down, it's going to have Bates Remote Learning in a blue box, and it's going to say click me. All right, so as you click on this, this is where we are hosting all of our online learning classrooms. So I'm going to walk you through some of the components of this. So the first thing is the language. So if you're looking for a different language, all you do is click right here. And we have pretty much every language necessary. I think that represents our school population. So right now it translated straight to Spanish, English or Spanish. And as you scroll down, all these components within our website are now accessible in the Spanish language. Okay. The only caveat to this is right here. If you go to, the tutorials, which is, our newsletter, some of the support and the tutorials here on YouTube. When you click on that, it only goes to English. So if you want to take these tutorials, you do have to go back to the English side. So if I bring it back here, oops, let me go back. You'll see here that it's translated back to English. Oop, no, that's still Spanish. I apologize. Here it is. The tutorial's here in English. Okay. Now on this webpage, what you'll find is our school supports. So if you need to communicate with myself, Mr. Munoz, Ms. Doucette Lee, our City Connects coordinator, Sari, Ms. Reardon, our nurse, Marlene, our family engagement coordinator, you can click on this, and that'll bring you to the links to contact. And as you hear here, you can see all the contact information. So you have our emails here. And it has a picture for each member of our staff. Obviously a little bit goofy, but it gives you a face with the name you're gonna speak to. Okay? If you scroll down, you're looking for your teacher's classroom. So if you are in Ms. Drinkwater's class, if you click on here, it's going to give you direct access to their classroom. So you don't have to, so all you have to do is log in. So you can only log into your student's classroom. So, so if I go to Ms. Schneider, I log in, I should be hooked up because I believe I have access, and I go right to her online classroom. Oop. Maybe I'm not hooked up to her. However, when you click on it, your child's name and password will come up and you can get right in there. So this is where all the classrooms will be. 5th grade are all right here. 4th grade, all grade levels up. Special education teachers in the therapeutic support program are on this page, as well as the specialists. However, on the other page, if you go to school supports, that's where the special education teachers are, if you want to locate them, okay? On this page, we also have our weekly newsletter and our tutorial page. And so I know there's a lot of talk around Kami and PDFs. I'm gonna walk you through that, but as you scroll down, you're gonna see there's some tutorials about the Kami PDFs, as well as how to check your Google accounts and access Schoology, and that's for 5th and 3rd grade. All right, so it's kind of a one-stop shop online program for our Bates kiddos. All right. The other thing I want to share is Kami. I know this came up last time, was about how do I write on PDFs without printing it. I know this was difficult for a lot of you. So to access this, so if I were to go to the school website where they have the packets that are PDF, I'm going to click on the 1st and 2nd grade. This week's packet, this document. So if you download Kami, all right, and you click on the Moon Journal, and you open it with Kami, this app will allow you to write directly on the document. It's still loading. All right, so data started, so today is 5, what is it, 5/11? So when you write on it, it's actually gonna have you make a copy, but then you can write on it 1 second. You could write on it by drawing. You can do text to speech, so it will read it for you if you press play.
My Moon Journal date observations started _____.
And it'll allow you to mark it up anyway. So you have different colors, pens, highlighters, and it also offers a dictionary component to it. So this way, when you get a math worksheet, you can write directly on it with the answers and then submit it. So that way you don't have to download the PDF, print it out, write it on, and then scan it back to the teacher. This allows you to submit it all through Kami. Okay? So those are the 2 components that we have now. So Kami, we have the tutorial on the digital webpage, which is accessible through our Bates website. Does anybody have any questions about that? And you can write it right in the box and I can respond to it. But what we want to do is create a one-stop shop where all the classrooms are in one spot so that teachers with multiple, students with parents with multiple students don't have to fish around and looking for different classroom websites. Everybody good with that? All right, great. So I'm gonna ask now Amanda, who is our school adjustment counselor. She's gonna do a little update on some mental health awareness.
Yeah, hi everybody. I mostly just wanted to pop on and say hello. I don't know a lot of the families yet from the Bates community. I started in mid-January, so not ideal in terms of being able to have as much of the connection as I would have wanted to have with the school closure. But I have found that, people are reaching out when they need it. And I would encourage people to continue to do that, because I think we're getting to the part during the closure where there might be a lot of big feelings for kids or for parents or, for all of us navigating this. So I just want people to know that I'm available. I have a Salem Public Schools cell phone, so I can text on that. I can do FaceTime if that's easier, phone calls. I've been doing kind of all of the above with kids. I'm happy to hop on to Zoom, meetings, individual or with classes and do things like that. But I just want people to know that it's okay that it's hard right now. And I think validating for the kids, this is tough. I know this is tough, but so are we. And really, making space for all that, and then just focusing on the next best thing that you can do. And so if it's, like Jen Doucette said, if it's just too much, you've done what you can, do your best, forget the rest, and just kind of move through the rest of the day. That's all we can really do right now. I think that coping is the most important thing. And I also am aware that there might be the need for grief resources and support. And so I'm happy to, provide families with referrals, or if you'd like to talk things out or anything like that. So if anybody has any questions or any needs, please reach out. All of my information's on there on the website. And there's also a Padlet too that I'm trying to update weekly that anybody can use. It doesn't have to be a student that I work with regularly, but I'm adding on there videos and read alouds. I'm trying to have the read alouds be, obviously something that's helpful. I think I did one on frustration. Zachary gets frustrated, and it had some like really cute little tools. I think they called them chill skills that kids can kind of practice and try, because I know there's a lot that's happening for kids. So however I can be of support, please reach out.
And you don't need to have,
what was that?
I was going to say, you don't need to have an IEP in order to reach out to us too. If you have any questions, you can access these services as well. So you don't have to have an IEP in order to access Ms. Sims.
Right. And it might even just be consultation. You might not be looking for me to work with your kid, or you might not need a referral for a therapist or something like that, but it might just be, hey, can I bounce this off of you? So so I'm happy to kind of provide any kind of consultation around any of that.
Thank you. Yeah, and all of those contacts, guys, are on that digital learning website on the Bates site. So if you need any of us, please feel free to email us or call us, and we'll be there to support you throughout this process. I think that's really important. Thank you, Amanda. Sorry, did you have anything to add on your end, or are we caught up from last time?
No, we're pretty much caught up on last time. I'll kind of say the same thing similar to Amanda. Even though I am a City Connects coordinator, I was a school adjustment counselor for several years before that. So I'm going to echo the same thing she said, and anytime anyone wants to reach out or needs anything, just please feel free.
Great, thank you. And some things that are just coming up, guys, with the learning expectations, and this isn't necessarily for all parents, but it's some things that have come up. We just want to address it, or make sure it doesn't happen in the future. One is obviously, there is a level of honesty with some of the classwork. We want to make sure that our students are the ones providing the classwork. and seeing where they're making errors so that we can respond to them appropriately. We are getting some work that we feel that is being done by parents, or we're seeing it through a Zoom meeting where parents are giving answers. We want to create a culture where students can fail, but we can pick them back up and reteach them those academic or social emotional learning skills. So this is a great time for our students to fail, right? And so we can pick them back up, but we don't have that ability to see where or assess where our students are if parents are doing some of that classwork. So not that you guys are, I just want to put it out there because there have been some cases. Two, just make sure that, dress code for students, and family members, make sure that we're following that. Now we are in your homes and we do need to respect that, but obviously there's students on the screen, and if you're kind of getting out of the shower, you may not even notice that your daughter or son, is on a Zoom meeting. So we just want to make sure that we're, abiding the school dress code, even for kids. I know that they might be outside doing stuff and they might be in a bathing suit, but we want to make sure they're fully clothed if any videos are being sent in, because we really want to respect those boundaries as well. The last thing is some teachers are finding that kids who are on the Zoom meetings might be a little bit distracted, rolling on the ground, kind of being goofy, and there may be a parent present. So if you can help some of that redirection, because it is difficult for our teachers to have that behavior management skill when it's via Zoom or through technology. So if you see your child, if you could help redirect that and keep them focused on the screen as much as possible, we greatly appreciate that. Just because it's going to help us really meet all the needs of our students and your kiddos as well. And again, we're not pointing the finger at anyone. We just want to make everybody aware of some of these things. All right. Does anybody have any questions? You can, again, just write them down in the bottom on the chat screen. The last thing is with, looking for next year, lots up in the air, but even just ending the school year and getting into the school to get things, we're still waiting on communication from the district when that's a safe time to do it. So I know there's a lot of students have stuff in the schools, teachers do as well, but we want to make sure that everyone's safe during that process. So we're just kind of waiting on guidance from the district. When we get that guidance about when we get back in the schools and collect stuff, we will get that to you as soon as possible. Oh, someone actually wrote that. Nicole, right spot on. Yeah, so we're also in the process of looking at ways how we could, put some closure on the school year. Obviously, it's very difficult right now. Obviously, we're planning on hopefully maybe in August or even September having an end of the year opportunity to get together as a community, kind of like our open houses where everyone's kind of involved, whether it be a cookout, but that would be that face-to-face. So hopefully that can happen in the future. We're planning on that. If not, we're looking at alternative ways to do some closure, via Zoom or some other component. And I know with the fifth graders, we're kind of thinking about how they're going to wrap up their career at Bates Elementary School. And so that's something we're thinking about in terms of a moving on ceremony and celebrating them, in their success over the last 5 years, 5-6 years. Any other questions? All right. Staff members, anything else that you want to add? Great. All right. So I don't want to keep you here. Oh. So that's all. So Melissa, end of the year report card. So what the district's kind of looking at right now is brainstorming ideas for a report card. It might be more of a progress report and looking at some of the skill development that might need to be worked on, over the summer months and into next year, and things that they've mastered. So it won't be a traditional report card, obviously, because we're not grading throughout this remote learning process. It's more about skill development and giving up progress updates over the last few months. So that's a great question. Thank you. Moving up ceremony for kindergarten, kids to first grade. Yeah, I think similar to fifth grade, we're looking at alternative ways to, celebrate that first year of, you know, formal education. So if parents, if you have ideas too, please feel to reach out, because we've been brainstorming. We want to make it the most engaging opportunity as possible, whether it's a moving up ceremony for kindergarten or for 5th grade sending off. So we're open to any ideas, because we want to make sure that everyone feels supported and celebrated at this time. Kindergarten screening, you know, that's up in the air. How that's going to be done, if it can be done over Zoom, I don't know. As of right now, it's not scheduled just because of, you know, we don't know what the contingency is on scheduling. If it were to happen, and if next year we're going to be exactly the same as it is going in, we're thinking about doing it. I have the date, but it would be the week when, it would be 2 days before kindergarten start. So it'd be Wednesday before the first day of school for kindergarten. So that's the idea. We haven't put that date in pen yet just because of everything going on, but it is something that we're monitoring pretty closely. Any other questions? If you don't have anything right now, that's okay. Like I said, please email myself or JJ. We would love to answer any questions. Obviously, it's a very unprecedented time. And you know, you might think of something an hour later, but email us right away. We'll respond. I promise you that. All right. So without further ado, I appreciate everyone taking the time to join us. You know, I love the Bates community. I know this is my first time formally talking to you all without JJ's presence. And, you know, I cannot wait to see everybody in person. I think that's the first and foremost, and seeing all the kiddos. I think I miss them. I miss watching them come off the bus and greeting them first thing in the morning. So I cannot wait to have that opportunity again. And I think everything else is gravy after that. I think I just want to engage with our kiddos. So everything will fall into place. I wish everyone being safe and well, you know, over the next few weeks, few months. Again, if you need anything at all, please reach out and we'll be here for you. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gavin.